Good morning children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. This is biology session. You are watching Heredity from Parent to Progeny part 2. So, we have started in the last session children, this lesson very interesting. This lesson is related to genetics. What is genetics children? Genetics is the branch of biology which deals with the study of heredity and variation. Then what is heredity? Heredity is the study of transmission of characters from parents to progeny or parents to offsprings or from one generation to the next generation. Okay? The characters that are passed from one generation to other are called hereditary characters. So, in the last class we discussed about some variations also. Variations may be defined as the differences in characteristics shown by the individuals of a species and also by the offsprings or siblings of the same parents. Okay? It is the gene inherited factors that determines the biological characters of an organism. Okay? And about Mendel, about pea plant, we studied some basics. So, shall we continue children? Are you ready? Let us proceed. In 1857, Gregor John Mendel started working on the problem of how variations were passed from one generation to the other. Mendel did not do this experiment or experimental work either in a university or in a laboratory. As he was a monk in a monastery, he simply did his experiments in the monastery garden. Okay, he worked for over 7 years, after which he presented the conclusions from his experimental data in the form of a detailed research paper. Okay. Then he planned and so the Mendel made many careful observations of plants and found that the pea plants would be the most suitable to carry on further experimentation. Then he planned and designed the experiments to find out answer to the questions that came to his mind. Okay. He had worked on nearly 10,000 pea plants of 34 different varieties. Okay. So, in 1857, Gregor John Mendel, he started working on the problem. What is the problem? How the variations were passed from one generation to other generation. So, he has not conducted these experiments in the laboratory or even in the university or anything. Okay, based on his knowledge, as he was a monk, okay, he conducted his experiments on the monastery in a monastery garden. Especially he has chosen, so several plants he studied, but he has chosen the pea plant because he observed many variations in the pea plants. So, he had worked on nearly 10,000 pea plants of 34 different varieties. Okay. And observing the pea plants carefully, Mendel noted that they differ from one another in many ways. Okay, the pea plants differ from one another in many ways. For example, the plants were tall or dwarf. This is one characteristic feature. The seed shape round or wrinkled. Seed cover, that is cotyledons, the color is yellow or green. Okay. So, these characters, they are called as contrasting characters, or it is also called as allelomorph or alleles. Okay. So, thus the Mendel had chosen 7 pairs of contrasting characters, 7 pairs of contrasting characters for his study. Okay. That in the table it has shown, we will see. Okay, the difference in the form of ripe seeds, these are either round or deeply wrinkled. Okay, the ripe seeds of the pea, either they are round or deeply wrinkled. The difference in the color of the seed albumin, that is endosperm. The albumin of the ripe seed is either pale yellow, bright yellow and orange colored, or it possesses a more or less intense green tint color. Okay. So, the seeds, he observed the difference in the color of the seed albumin, that is endosperm. It may be the pale yellow, bright yellow, orange colored, or it possesses a more or less intense green. Okay. So, this difference of colors is easily seen in the seeds as their coats are transparent. You know that a pea seed coat is transparent. So, we can easily see the color of the seed albumin. Okay. So, the difference in the colors of the seed coat, this is either white with the character of white flowers, or constantly correlated, or it is gray, gray brown, leather brown with or without violet spotting. Okay, the difference in the form of ripe pods, these are either simply inflated, not constricted in places, or they are deeply constricted between the seeds and more or less wrinkled. Okay, the difference in the color of the unripened pods, they are either light to dark green or vividly yellow. Okay, these are all the observations of Mendel. Okay, the difference in the position of the flowers, they are either axial, that is distributed along the main stem, or they are terminal, that is bunched at the tip of the stem. Okay, these are the all observations he mentioned in his research paper. Okay, he observed the seed coats, okay, the seed coats of the ripe pods of pea plant. Okay, and the seeds are wrinkled, the seeds are round. Okay, they are green, they are yellow, like that. The different colors, the position of the flowers also he has observed. Some are axial, axial means along the main stem. Some are terminal, terminal means at the tip of the stem. Okay. So, the difference in the length of the stem is varied in some forms. In experiments with this character, in order to discriminate with certainty, the long axis of 6 to 7 feet was always crossed with the short one of 3/4 to 1 and 1/2 feet. The popularly called the tall and dwarf varieties. Tall and dwarf varieties. Okay, as I say, there are dominant allele. Allele means characters. See, here we come across the results of Mendel F1 crosses for 7 characters in the pea plant. Okay, what are they? The characters: flower color and flower position. Okay, dominant trait, dominant character. What is that? Purple color. Recessive trait, recessive character, that is white. And in the F2 generation, the results of F1 crosses of 7 crosses in the pea plant we are discussing. So, in the F2 generation, what happened? 705 purple and 224 white. The ratio is 3:15:1. Whereas flower position, if you take the dominant one are axial, okay, that is sides, axial position, branches near, whereas terminal means at the tip. So, the dominant is axial position, purple flowers, the terminal, the tip. So, if you compare these two, 60 651 axial position and 207 terminal position. The ratio was 3:14:1. So, these are the he mentioned in the form of a table. Okay, here dominant alleles or dominant triads. Dominant allele is one of the factors of an allelic pair which can express itself whether present in homozygous or heterozygous state. Homozygous means same, heterozygous means different. For example, capital T tallness in the P, capital R round seed in the P. The recessive trials will be the factors of allele which is unable to express its effect in the presence of its contrasting factors. Okay, in a heterozygote, that is capital T is a tall, small t is a dwarf in the P. Okay, whereas a heterozygote means capital T, small t, the combination of those two. Okay. So, we come across different terminologies in this genetical study, heredity. Okay, that is homozygous, heterozygous, okay, monohybrid, dihybrid, test cross, back cross, reciprocal crosses. Okay, we come across all these things. You listen carefully, children, from here onwards. Okay. So, here the table representing the characters, the seed color, seed shape, pod shape. So, these are all the shapes. Okay, pod color, stem length. So, here the dominant triad, the seed color is yellow, the seed shape is round, okay, capital Y, capital R, the pod shape is inflated, the pod color is green, the stem color, this is the pod, inside the seeds are present, the stem length tall, these are all dominant. In the second column, recessive triad, the seed color, if it is green, this is recessive, the seed shape wrinkled, the pod shape constricted, the pod color yellow if it is recessive, the stem length if it is dwarf, it is recessive. In the F2 generation, the dominant and recessive ratio, if you take 6022 and is to 2001, that is in the seed color ratio, and this ratio if you take 3:1:1. Okay, the seed shape if you take 5474 is to 1850 and the ratio 2:96:1, and the pod shape 882 is to 299, means dominant 882 and the recessive 299, whereas in the ratio 2:95:1, and the pod color if you consider, then the F2 generation 428 dominant and means green, 428 dominant means green and 152 recessive yellow. Okay, the ratio if you take 2:82:1, stem length if you take then 787 tall, 277 dwarf, the ratio is 2:84:1. So, this is the table representing the results of the F2 generation. Okay. The Mendel hypothesized that the characters were carried as the triads, and an organism always carried a pair of factors for a character. He also hypothesized that distinguishing triads of the same character were present in the population of an organism. He assumed that the triads shown by the pea plants must be seeds in the seeds that produced them. The seeds must have obtained these triads from the parent plants. How do parent plants pass on their triads to the seeds? Will the seeds from tall plants always produce new tall plants? These are the doubts arised. The Mendel carried out several experiments to find out answer to such type of questions. Okay. So, examples of the experiments performed by Mendel. The following section shows number of experiments performed, number of fertilizations carried out, and the number of plants involved in the study. The first experiment, 60 fertilizations on 15 plants. The second experiment, 58 fertilizations on 10 plants. The third experiment, 35 fertilizations on 10 plants. Fourth experiment, 40 fertilizations on 10 plants. The fifth experiment, 23 fertilizations on 5 plants. Sixth experiment, 34 fertilizations on 10 plants. Seventh experiment, 37 fertilizations on 10 plants. So, what is fertilization? The fusion of male and female gametes is called fertilization. The pollen grains of one plant is fused with the ovary, okay, the ovules. So, that is called cross fertilization. So, hybrids are produced by these fertilization experiments. So, the experiments conducted by the Mendel, the fertilization experiments on the pea plants. Okay. So, the why Mendel had chosen the garden pea as a material for his experiments? Because of these following advantages. Well defined characters we can see easily. Phenotypic means which we can see externally. The bisexual flowers, all the flowers in the pea plant, they are bisexual, shows both male and female parts. The predominantly self fertilization is observed, and early hybridization, we can observe hybridization process also very easily. Okay, that is why he has chosen the pea plant. Basically he is a mathematician, so he is fast in calculations, the experiments, results, everything he put it on the paper. His results mentioned in the research papers. Okay. The Mendel selected such kinds of plants that expresses a selected character over several generations. Such plants, according to him, were pure breed for that character. They are pure breed for that character. The Mendel did experiment with 2 pure breeds of pea for the seed color contrasting characters, yellow and green, contrasting characters comparable. Okay. So, yellow and green, and they are represented as yellow with capital Y and green with small y. Okay, capital Y represent yellow color and small y represent green color. So, he started cross fertilizing, cross pollination, the pure breeds having contrasting characters. Okay, the Mendel started with the 2 pure breeds of peas with different properties. We here take as an example a characteristic color of the pea seeds, yellow and green. The capital Y represent yellow and small y represent green. Okay. So, in the further we are going to study about the homozygous conditions and the heterozygous conditions. Okay. The homozygous condition means the organisms having 2 similar genes or alleles for a particular character in a homologous pair of chromosomes. Okay. The capital T or small t, small t. The capital T represent the tallness, small t represent the dwarfness. Okay. The organisms containing 2 different characteristics of an individual containing both dominant and recessive. Okay, we already come across the term dominant and recessive. Dominant means which has more ability to transfer its characters. Okay. So, recessive means which express very less, dominant means which express more in the next generation. Okay, all those things we are going to study in the next class. Please read the textbook, children. Hope you understood. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.